China has returned 12 shipments. U.S. corn, 545,000 tons of corn were returned.
Bauman says demand for U.S. corn used to feed livestock is up worldwide, except in the third largest market for it, China.
Well, if you're wondering why farmers are so concerned about their farm finances right now, they really just can't catch a break. It's not just because corn prices are below break even for most. It's the fact input prices are so high.
I never thought I was going to lose this much money this fast.
Breaking news from the global trade arena, and this one hits America where it hurts. Imagine this. 545,000 tons of U.S. corn gone to waste. Not because of bad weather, not because of farmers, but because China just slammed the door shut on American agriculture. And here's the kicker. While Donald Trump fumes in Washington, China just inked $1 billion corn deal with Canada. Yes, Canada. This isn't just a headline. This is a turning point. A moment that reveals the cracks in Trump's America First promise, and a warning sign for every American farmer counting on exports to survive. But why did China reject U.S. corn? And why is Canada suddenly the big winner in this global food fight? Stay with me, because the story behind this trade disaster is far more shocking than anyone expected. To understand the full picture, we need to rewind. Donald Trump's presidency, both then and now, has always been about hardline trade policies, tariffs, threats, and fiery speeches about making America strong again. But there's a problem. The world has options. When you push too hard, partners look elsewhere. And that's exactly what China did. Over the past 5 years, China has diversified its agricultural imports, signing long-term deals with Brazil, Argentina, and now Canada. And guess what? Trump's own tariff war made this shift inevitable. By slapping duties on Chinese goods and daring Beijing to retaliate, he practically handed over America's market share to its competitors. Think about the American farmer for a moment. Someone in Iowa, Nebraska, or Kansas. They're not politicians. They're not billionaires. They're families who planted their fields last spring counting on exports to pay off the loans they took for seed and fertilizer. Now 500,000 tons of corn they thought was sold to China, sitting idle. That's livelihoods on the line, all because of political chess moves gone wrong. And while Trump blames China, the truth is this: he set the stage for this rejection. His trade policies were built on confrontation, not cooperation. And now Canada, America's quiet northern neighbor, is stepping up to fill the gap with $1 billion deal that could rewrite the agricultural map. But here's where it gets even worse. This isn't just about corn. This is about power, about leverage, about who really calls the shots in the global economy. And spoiler alert, it's not Trump. In the next part, we'll dive into the shocking details of China's deal with Canada and why this move could cripple America's farmers for years to come. China's move wasn't random. It was strategic. For months, whispers circled inside trade circles that Beijing was growing impatient with Washington's unpredictability. And when the Trump administration doubled down on tariffs earlier this year, calling it a patriotic tax, China responded in silence. Not with words, but with deals. Big ones. Last week, Canadian officials and Chinese trade representatives finalized an agricultural agreement worth $1.2 billion, securing the shipment of millions of tons of corn, soybeans, and other staples. This wasn't just a purchase. It was a message. A message that China doesn't need America as much as America needs China. And that message landed like a thunderclap across the U.S. farming heartland. Donald Trump, of course, was quick to lash out. He called it economic warfare and accused China of playing politics. But the truth? This wasn't a surprise to anyone paying attention. When you spend years antagonizing your biggest customer, eventually they shop elsewhere. And Canada, with its reputation for stability and fairness, was the perfect alternative. Here's the painful irony. Canadian corn isn't necessarily cheaper. It's not magically better. But it comes with one thing America has lost: predictability. Businesses crave stability, and right now Trump's White House is a hurricane of tariff threats, late-night rants, and policy U-turns. Beijing knows this, and they've capitalized on it brilliantly. But what does this mean for American farmers? Let's break it down. U.S. agriculture exports to China were worth over $17 billion in 2024. Corn alone made up a massive chunk. Losing even a fraction of that market isn't just a bad day, it's a catastrophe. For a farmer in Iowa, this isn't about geopolitics. It's about whether they can make their next mortgage payment. It's about whether their kids can stay on the family farm or if it gets sold to a corporate giant. And while Trump thunders about making new deals, here's the cold truth. Rebuilding trust with China could take years. Meanwhile, those 545,000 tons of rejected corn, they'll likely flood the domestic market, driving prices down and squeezing farmers even harder. A double hit: lost exports and lower prices at home. What's even more alarming is how this deal strengthens Canada's global position. For decades, Canada has played second fiddle in agricultural trade compared to its southern neighbor, but now it's stepping into the spotlight. Chinese officials praised Canada's commitment to reliable trade, a not-so-subtle jab at Washington's chaos. And this isn't a one-off deal. Insiders say China is exploring multi-year agreements with Ottawa, potentially locking in Canadian suppliers for the next decade. That's a dagger straight through Trump's promise to revive America's farming economy. Remember those campaign rallies where he shouted about winning so much we'd get tired of it? Well, farmers aren't tired of winning, they're tired of waiting while their crops rot. But here's where it gets even worse. This isn't just about trade, it's about influence. Every ton of corn Canada ships to China isn't just a loss of revenue for the US, it's a loss of leverage. Agricultural exports have always been a quiet weapon in America's diplomatic arsenal. Now that weapon is slipping away, and Trump's own policies handed it over on a silver platter. And yet through all this, Trump's response has been to double down, threatening new tariffs, bragging about standing strong, and blaming everyone but himself. The question isn't whether this strategy is working, it's how much more damage it will cause before someone changes course. The shockwaves from this rejection are already spreading. Across the Midwest, corn prices are plummeting. Farmers who once relied on Chinese contracts to keep their operations alive are watching their profits evaporate. For many, this isn't just a bad season, it's an existential crisis. Some are taking on emergency loans, others are selling land passed down through generations, and all the while Trump is tweeting about fake news attacks instead of addressing the root cause. But it's not just farmers feeling the pain. The entire US economy is on edge. Agriculture may not dominate headlines like tech stocks, but it's a cornerstone of America's trade balance. When exports collapse, it ripples through shipping companies, equipment manufacturers, even rural banks. Jobs vanish, small towns struggle, and the divide between Washington promises and Main Street realities grows wider by the day. And let's talk politics. This crisis strikes at the heart of Trump's base, the rural communities that propelled him back into the White House in 2024. They believed his pledge to protect American farmers, to fight for fair trade. But now, those same supporters are facing bankruptcy because of policies that push China into Canada's arms. If that doesn't shake the foundation of his political empire, what will? Meanwhile, Canada is reaping the rewards. Ottawa has positioned itself as the stable, dependable partner China craves. This deal isn't just about corn, it's a diplomatic win. It cements Canada's role as a global agricultural powerhouse while Washington scrambles to contain the damage. And every handshake in Beijing is another reminder that the world is moving on, whether Trump likes it or not. So where does this leave America? Stuck between pride and pragmatism. Trump could reverse course, tone down the rhetoric, and negotiate in good faith. But will he? Or will he gamble America's agricultural future on another round of tariffs and threats? History suggests the latter, and that's a bet farmers can't afford. The truth is sobering. This isn't just a trade dispute. It's a turning point, a signal that America's dominance in global agriculture is no longer guaranteed. And if things don't change soon, the phrase "made in the USA" might become a relic on the world's dinner tables. Here's the question I want to leave you with. Is Trump protecting American farmers or sacrificing them for political theater? Because every rejected shipment, every lost deal, every struggling family tells us one thing: someone is paying the price. And it's not Trump. If you found this analysis eye-opening, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories shaping our world. And drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think America can recover its trade leverage, or has Trump's gamble permanently changed the game? We'll see you in the next video.